Angie Dickinson, now 93, has finally spoken about one of Hollywood's most enduring secrets, Randolph Scott, the stoic Western star whose private life was tightly guarded by the studio system. For over 7 decades, she remained silent about what she witnessed as a young actress on the studio lots, moments that could have destroyed reputations and rewritten Hollywood history. Now, near the end of her life, she says that truth matters more than the myths that once protected the industry. When Dickinson arrived in Hollywood in the early 1950s, the system still ruled with an iron hand. Actors were under contract, and every public appearance was carefully managed. By the time she met Randolph Scott, he was already an established figure, handsome, serious, and distant. But behind that polished image was a story whispered quietly across studios, one centered around his close and complicated relationship with Cary Grant. Between 1932 and 1944, Scott and Grant shared a Santa Monica beach house. Officially, it was called a bachelor arrangement, but insiders knew better. Back then, you didn't ask questions, Dickinson said. Everyone knew, but nobody said a word. That silence wasn't just about protecting 2 actors, it was about protecting the entire studio system. Scott, with his rugged looks and calm authority, embodied the myth of American masculinity. His image as the perfect cowboy hero made millions for the studios. Any hint that contradicted that image, especially rumors of a romantic relationship with another man, was unthinkable. The studios fought to control every aspect of his public life. Publicists arranged photo ops with actresses, fake romances, and strategic marriages designed to reinforce the illusion. Nothing in Hollywood was accidental, Dickinson recalled. Every handhold, every smile, every headline was staged. She remembered being warned early in her career not to gossip or ask questions about certain stars. It wasn't about protecting them, she said. It was about protecting the business. The fear of exposure extended to everyone who worked with Scott. On sets, people walked carefully around him. He was polite but distant. He never made eye contact for long, Dickinson said. He'd tip his hat, say hello, and disappear. You could feel the tension, like everyone was keeping a secret together. According to her, this environment of caution and control created invisible walls around him. Even mild jokes could destroy a career. She recalled one actor who made a passing remark about Scott and Grant. His contract was terminated the next day. The message was clear, silence wasn't optional, it was survival. We all saw what happened to people who crossed that line, she said. You didn't need anyone to spell it out. Scott's image as a Western hero made the situation even more delicate. During the 1940s and 1950s, when American culture idealized toughness and heterosexual masculinity, his persona was more than entertainment, it was propaganda. He represented something larger than himself, Dickinson observed. To millions of people, he was the embodiment of integrity and strength. The studios couldn't afford to let that image crack. She described moments when Scott seemed exhausted by the act. You'd see it in his eyes, she said. That kind of weariness that comes from pretending all the time. Occasionally, he would relax when he thought no one was watching, revealing warmth and humor that disappeared the instant someone entered the room. It was like a mask dropping for a second, and then the door slammed shut again. As the years passed, Scott became more reclusive. While other stars attended parties and premieres, he preferred solitude. Dickinson believed this was his way of preserving what little authenticity he had left. Being Randolph Scott wasn't a role he could ever leave behind, she said. It was his armor, and his prison. She explained that the studio system was designed to control not only how stars looked on screen but how they lived every moment of their lives. Publicists wrote fake love stories for magazines, arranged romantic dinners for the press, and monitored interviews to prevent uncomfortable questions. Every interview was scripted, she said. Reporters were given a list of approved topics. If they strayed, they'd never get access again. Sometimes, the studios used intimidation to maintain control. There were fixers, Dickinson said softly. They handled things quietly, paid people off, changed stories, made problems disappear. What struck her most was how normalized this deception became. It wasn't seen as wrong, she said. It was just how things worked. She noted that this constant dishonesty had a deep psychological cost. The longer he lived that way, the smaller his world became, she reflected. He couldn't afford to be close to anyone. It's hard to build real connections when every part of your life is a performance. Over time, Scott's emotional distance seeped into his acting. His characters became more restrained, more symbolic than human. His roles became like uniforms, she said. Safe, silent, and controlled. She believed that behind the stoic cowboy image was an artist who wanted to express something deeper, but couldn't. There were flashes of it, she said. Moments of real emotion that slipped through. But they became fewer as the years went on. Dickinson also described the quiet sadness that seemed to follow him. He wasn't bitter, she said. Just tired. Like someone who had accepted his fate. She remembered one award ceremony where someone praised Scott as a symbol of honesty and integrity. She happened to glance at him and saw a fleeting look cross his face, a mix of irony and pain, she said. He knew better than anyone what that meant. When asked why she chose to speak now, Dickinson explained that time changes the meaning of truth. I wouldn't have talked about this while Randolph was alive, she said. But after so many years, I think the truth belongs to history now. For her, the decision was less about scandal and more about understanding. This isn't gossip, she insisted. It's about showing what that system did to people, the cost of living a lie because you had no other choice. She emphasized that her goal isn't to diminish Scott or Grant, but to humanize them. They were remarkable men, she said. They achieved so much under impossible circumstances. Knowing what they carried only makes their accomplishments more impressive. Dickinson believes the world today is finally ready to understand these stories with compassion instead of judgment. 50 years ago, this would have been unthinkable to say out loud, she said. Now, maybe people can see it for what it is, a story of survival. As one of the few remaining witnesses to that era, Dickinson feels a responsibility to speak before the truth fades entirely. When we're gone, all that's left are the myths, she said. I want to leave something honest behind. Her reflections don't just reveal secrets, they expose the human cost of an industry built on illusion. The studio system made beautiful films, she said. But it also broke people in quiet, invisible ways. In the end, Dickinson sees her words as an act of restoration, not exposure. Randolph Scott lived a divided life because the world gave him no other choice, she said. He deserves to be remembered for all of who he was, not just the parts the studio approved.